Chief Justice Raymond Zondo has come under fire for his recent public remarks that CASAC believes crossed the boundaries of acceptable speech by judges and should be reproached.
And these sorts of comments are quite serious, coming from, the head of the judiciary, and is concerning because it does go over the line of what is acceptable speech by judges.
The remarks, which sparked concern for CASAC, include the pending arms deal corruption trial of former President Zuma, a matter that is still pending before the High Court, as well as Zondo's insinuation that Zuma may, in future, benefit from a remission of sentence if tried and convicted. According to the body, these kinds of comments fall short of the conduct required of judges by the Code of Judicial Conduct.
Where the Chief Justice has public engagement, he must exercise restraint and answer the questions or address the points that he can, both as allowed by the Judicial Code of Ethics and by his own sense of what is proper for a judge to speak about in public.
Zondo chaired the Commission of Inquiry into state capture before he was appointed the Chief Justice. Since the completion of the inquiry, Zondo has frequently lamented the lack of action on his recommendations on the state capture report. His utterances have often been seen to be delving into the political arena, something which was flagged at his interview before the Judicial Service Commission regarding his meeting with then-President Zuma over former ANC Youth League leader Julius Malema's quote-unquote kill for Zuma utterances.
The Youth League, it is actually not in the best interest of the judiciary and for the judges to go and discuss other politicians, because if you're bringing age at the age I was, it's immaterial to me. I'm a politician, I'm a president of an organization even at that time. I was not a leader of a crèche. I was a political leader of an organization with rich history in this country. And for you to go as a judge to discuss another politician with another politician, that amounts to bringing the judiciary into disrepute.
The Office of the Chief Justice is yet to comment on CASAC's concerns. Kani Mapanga, SABC News, Johannesburg.
Well, staying on that matter, let's bring in Zikhona Ndlebe from Judges Matter to weigh in on the controversy around remarks made by the Chief Justice Raymond Zondo. Zikhona, good afternoon, and thank you for your time with us here on the SABC.
Good afternoon, Liesl. Thank you.
For context's sake, for those who've also just tuned in, perhaps you could speak to the expected conduct of judges, perhaps as we unpack what's transpired further.
All right. So, I'm not only going to speak of the expected conduct of judges, but I'm going to specifically speak of the expected conduct of a Chief Justice.
Sure.
Because the Chief Justice holds a prominent role in our judiciary. He plays a key role in a wide range of issues that are crucial not only to the functioning of the judiciary, but indeed to our entire structure of the constitutional governance. So the Chief Justice is the head of the judiciary. He is the chair of the Judicial Service Commission. He also is involved in determining the funds that the judiciary needs in order to operate. So his role is very prominent. So in terms of the Judicial Code of Conduct, judges in general are not supposed to speak on issues that relate to party politics or partisan politics. So the Chief Justice going out into public and speaking on various issues that he should not be speaking on is a huge concern for us as Judges Matter as well.
Thank you for that context, Zikhona. At this point, do these comments from your vantage point raise any scrutiny on the integrity of the Chief Justice Raymond Zondo as well?
There is a huge concern on the part of the Chief Justice. And many people have said that it's not the first time that a Chief Justice goes out in public and makes comments. Yes, that's indeed true. But the result from the former Chief Justice was that he was ordered to apologize for making comments that relate to political controversy. And that is something that we might see in this instance as well, because the Chief Justice has gone onto a live TV and was interviewed and spoke on issues that he should not be speaking about. Specifically, if you look at the fact that he spoke on a pending case in the High Court, and the Code of Judicial Conduct is clear that judges are not supposed to publicly comment on merits of any case pending before or determined by that judge or any other court. And that is exactly what the Chief Justice has done.
I just want to quote from Kasik's statement in regards to what came to the fore this time round, the arms deal corruption trial of former President Jacob Zuma, as well as insinuations that former President Jacob Zuma may in the future benefit from a remission of sentence if tried and convicted. Given the interactions between the Chief Justice Raymond Zondo and former President Jacob Zuma emanating from the state capture inquiry, I mean, we saw the Chief Justice making predictions of what the arms deal judgment may be in the end. What do you make of this? And just really walk us through what impact this has on the judiciary and its independence, even the issue of recusal.
So, you know, that we've got three arms of government. And yes, there are certain instances where the arms of government have to work together, advise each other to ensure that the state is functioning properly, right? But the three arms of government are separate. So the judiciary cannot want to participate in the executive. So with the Chief Justice, he was the chair of the State Capture Commission, correct? But his role has come to an end. And now what happens with the report and the recommendations is dependent on the president. It's dependent on the executive. So the Chief Justice going on TV and basically stating that the executive is not doing its job, that on its own, it's problematic and it's concerning because the Chief Justice is part of the judiciary and should not be commenting on issues that are within the executive. And with regards to the comments that he's made relating to the pending cases in the High Court relating to the former president, that's a huge concern because that case is still in the High Court and there's a potential that it might end up at the Constitutional Court. And if it does end up at the Constitutional Court and he is part of he's one of the judges at the Crown Court, obviously, he might have to recuse himself because there might be a perception of bias. And that will contribute to the delay in cases. There are already extreme amount of delays in cases that are pending in our courts, and we don't want any further delays in any of the cases. So it's a huge concern for us.
Kasik believes that these remarks in his interview, cross the boundaries of acceptable speech by judges and should be reproached. The issue of freedom of speech also coming to the fore. How would you like to comment on that from your vantage point?
So, you know, the issue of freedom of speech, it's not the first time that it has been raised relating to judges. It was raised with the former Chief Justice Mogoeng. But the reality is that when a person is appointed as a judge, there are certain limitations that are put in place by the Code of Judicial Conduct. So there is freedom of speech only to a certain extent. And as far as we are concerned, judges have always expressed their views through their judgments. Judges speak through their judgments. That is what we've believed as Judges Matter up until now. And having judges going to a public platform and expressing their personal views about issues that are in courts, that's a huge problem. Yes, judges, everyone has a right to freedom of speech, but with judges, it's limited because judges are not any ordinary citizens of our countries. They hold a specific status.
Zikhona, we're still waiting comment from his office, but at this point, what is the best way forward to ensure that there is integrity and that the Chief Justice comments and public engagements are in line, are in peripheral of the Constitution as well? Help us understand that from your vantage point as we conclude.
I think as I've mentioned before, you know, judges speak through their judgments. So there would be specific cases where a judge would have to be called and to give a lecture or to make a comment or to have a media statement because of something that is happening within the judiciary. For example, we've recently seen attacks on judicial officers. Perhaps if the Chief Justice had come out and addressed those attacks and told the public that attacks should be made with substantiation or with evidence, that would have been understandable to a certain extent. But with regards to the comments that the Chief Justice has now made, they really relate to his personal views and they relate to him having been the chair of a commission. So judges generally speak through their judgments and they should not be going out into the public and making comments about issues that might come to their court or come before them because there will be a perception of bias.
Zikhona Ndlebe, let's leave the conversation there. Thank you for your time with us on the SABC at this hour. Research and Advocacy Officer, Judges Matter, Zikhona Ndlebe, weighing in on the controversy around remarks made by Chief Justice Raymond Zondo. Of course, Kasik, the Council for the Advancement of the South African Constitution, has now urged Chief Justice Raymond Zondo through a statement to exercise restraint when making public statements and to always act within the best interest of the judiciary in mind. Thanks to Zikhona for her time with us here on the SABC.